Are we going to tolerate that a fertilizer bomb blew 6 sub-basement floors? And I'm telling you something about sub-basement floors of a World Trade Center. They're 29 feet thick each with 7 kinds of rebar reinforcement. The only weapon capable of doing such destruction and melting the concrete and extruding the rebar and the I-beam steel up to 6 feet in length longer than it originally was and melting the ends of it is a nuclear weapon. Now, the people they have in custody as fall guys may have been able to produce weapons and bombs and kill rabbis in New York, but I hate to tell you this, they did not have anything to do whatsoever with the World Trade Center bombing. The only thing used was a construction nuclear weapon. It was housed at Mather Air Force Base, the only place such things are kept.
You're going to hear from me. You're not going to hear from anybody else because my opinions, well, let's just say they're not popular. 9/11, inside job, plain and simple. All you got to do is connect the dots. And I'm not talking about the dots everyone's already heard about. I'm not talking about Bush sitting in that school reading a book about a goat to those kids for 7.5 minutes after he was told the news. Everybody knows that. I am talking about a massive neoconservative government effort. It's been in the works for over 20 years. You ever hear of PNAC, Project for New American Century?
Perhaps.
Yeah, well, according to them, the end goal of their effort is American global domination. Full spectrum dominance, they call it. Now, the first question that pops to my mind is, how do you pull that off in this day and age? Well, according to them, you do it in 4 steps. First, we must control the world's oil, especially the oil in Central Asia and the Middle East. Now, I don't have to remind you that Bush Cheney, they came to power with plans already made to attack Afghanistan and Iraq. Number 2, we have to make huge technological advances with our armed forces that for some reason include the capability to fight wars from outer space. Number 3, surprise, surprise, huge increases in military spending to pay for the above, $130 billion a year worth. Now, never mind the sick and dying first responders, 9/11's heroes, who can't even pay their light bill, let alone their medical bills, and a lot of whom are ending up homeless because of it. I guess there's just not enough room in the budget for them. Number 4, and this is key, we changed the definition of preemptive attack so we can unilaterally bomb the shit out of, invade, and occupy countries even if they pose no credible threat or had nothing to do with 9/11. One problem, how are you going to put it into action? I mean, the American people are never going to go for no shit like that, right? You're damn straight. Now what you need is an event that gets everyone's heads turned around the right way. What you need is a new Pearl Harbor. That's what they said they needed. Now, you're looking at a guy who went to 58 funerals in 26 days. I can tell you that is sure as shit what they got.
Howard, hey, I'm down on West 4th Street. We heard the first explosion. We went outside. We're watching the smoke come out. There's a hole in the side of the building. All of a sudden, maybe, I don't know, 10 minutes later, there was another plane flying around, and that disappeared into the building also, and you had like a 3rd explosion after that. And you had like a 3rd explosion after that. And you had like a 3rd explosion after that.
It's crazy over here. It's like chaos. It's like the Armageddon.
Of course.
The first plane we didn't see. But
you ought to get out of your building, dude.
All we saw was fire. Then the second time, we actually saw the plane circle around and then smash into the building.
Plane.
We're under attack.
Could you see
there are people flying planes into New York City and crashing into buildings.
It's chaos. There's people all over the place.
What did this? You saw the plane?
I saw the second plane.
What did it look like? Did it look like a commercial plane?
No, it looked like maybe one of those Airbus type things, like an MB-80. No, it looked like maybe one of those Airbus type things, like an MB-80.
The FBI said that the former Solicitor General of the Department of Justice, Ted Olson, his story about Barbara Olson is not true.
I wife of Solicitor General Ted Olson. Our understanding is that Barbara Olson was on the plane. She called her husband twice.
She did not call him twice. She didn't call him once.
Was she able to tell Mr. Olson?
The only weapons she mentioned were knives and cardboard cutters.
In 2006, the FBI turned in a report at the Moussaoui trial on all the phone calls from all 4 flights. And when they got to Flight 77 and they got to Barbara Olson, they said, one attempted call, unconnected, 0 seconds. Now this is pretty astounding. FBI says former Solicitor General either lied or he was duped. That his story about Barbara Olson is not true.
After burning for 53 minutes, the South Tower collapsed in 11 seconds.
This is as close as we can get to the base of the World Trade Center. You can see the firemen assembled here, the police officers, FBI.
Pentagon. The Pentagon has been evacuated. And there, as you can see, perhaps the second tower, the front tower, the top portion of which is collapsing. Good Lord. There are no words.
We made it outside. We made it about a block.
We made it at least 2 blocks, and we started running. Floor by floor, it started popping out.
It was if it had detonated.
Yeah, detonated.
Planned to take down a building. Boom, 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 boom.
Floor by floor, it started popping out.
It was if it had detonated.
Yeah, detonated.
Planned to take down a building. Boom, 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 boom.
Detonated.
Planned to take down a building. Boom, 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 boom.